get started in a nice seat. So I actually wrote this sequence thinking we would do it from Hero's Pose, and then I banged my knee in the ice storm. So I'm going to sit cross-legged. But you can totally sit on your feet if that feels better in that Hero's Pose. So just sitting up nice and tall. Roll out your shoulders a couple of times. Check in. See how you're feeling. Notice the bursts of rage that come forth from the terrible mismanagement of Texas the past week. Feel them. Acknowledge them. Probably don't let them go. That's impossible, but we work with what we can. Take a deep breath. And sigh out. So as much as we can, trying to come into that even rhythm, that even keel. Consciously trying to slow and deepen and enrich the breath as we move through the postures together. As things start to get more challenging and complicated, we might find that it's harder to maintain that even keel, that even rhythm. But doing your best to drop back into that breath. Bring your hands to your body in a way that's comforting. Maybe your hands rest on your thighs. Maybe you bring your hands to your ribs, or one hand over the other heart, or if you like that sort of classic prayer at the center, hands lift up tall. Go ahead and open your eyes if you close them, and we're going to transition to hands and knees. If you're like me and you have a little bit of banged up knee, we're going to use lots and lots and lots of padding. And if the padding is not helping at all, if it's still an issue, then we won't be here too long. You know, we can sit this one out. We can lift the leg that's bothering us. We'll see where we are. Okay. So again, I'm setting up my lots of extra padding. It's my right knee that's particularly grouchy, so I'm favoring my left a little bit. We're just going to find our cat and cow. Coming into those simple spinal flexations, trying to move through that crunchy spine from sitting all the time. And then, I wrote a thing down that I don't know what it means. It's classic. So, stretch your right leg back, curl your right toes under, press backwards into your right heel, stretch it out. Then I'm going to turn onto my left side. I'm going to turn away from the camera for a sec. So, my left foot's going out behind me. I'm standing on my left hand. I'm going to take a nice side bend here. Come back to center, step your right foot forward. If the knee is an issue, being down on the knee, we can absolutely go here, high lunge, which I'll probably do next round on that right knee. Inhale, reach up, and then exhale, big circle out with your arms. Drag your hands out to the side and then forward. Do that 2 more times, big circle out. Inhale up, circle out, and inhale up. And then bring your hands back, stepping back into that table, hands and knees. Shift your weight back into your foot. I am going to go ahead and elevate my right knee, even though this is harder on my arms and in the core. I don't want my right knee down. And then I'm going to pivot, spin. I'm going to shift a ton of weight into my hand and balance on this back foot a lot so that I can have the knee down, but I'm not grinding that knee into the floor. Come back around, step forward. Again, I'm going to do that high lunge variation on this side just because I don't want that back knee down right now, but you absolutely can knee down lunge. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, out to the side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, out to the side. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, touch down. And we're going to step back to downward facing dog. Tone your belly a lot. Bend your knees and shift your weight back to your feet. Take a deep breath. And then walk your hands back toward your feet, the back of your mat. Dramatically sweep your blanket to the side. Relax your jaw, relax your face, relax your neck, and hang. Fingertips down, lift your chest, inhale. Exhale, bow. Reach for the sky, come all the way up. And slide your palms, press together in front of your heart. We're going to walk to the top of this space. Inhale, stretch up, and fold. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, step your right leg back behind you. Big, giant step, lunge. You're going to spin that back heel down. So I'm using the edge of my mat. Pinky toe of left foot is on the left side of the mat, and my right heel is on this side of my mat. I'm going to bend my left knee a lot so it stacks on my left ankle. And then I'm going to walk away from you for a second. Hi! For a down dog lunge. So you want to stretch your arms out on a diagonal like your torso is in down dog, but your legs are in kind of a warrior two. Walk it on back around. Again, here's a place you might want to pad that back knee. I'm going to bring my knee down for a second, and then I'm actually going to lift it back up. This will make this a bit more core strength building in addition to the hip stretch if you take the back knee up. So I'm going to set up with the knee down and then come onto the forearms, and I move my blocks, but you can most definitely elevate your elbows on the blocks, and that will work with the knee up or down. And then if I want to or need to engage that back knee off the floor, I've got this kind of like power forearm plank lizard hybrid situation. You absolutely do not have to do this maneuver. You could put your knee back down, or maybe it never left the ground, and step back to your hands and knees. Or, I've got my back knee lifted, my back leg is strong, my belly is strong. I'm stepping straight into forearm plank. And then I'm going to swivel my heels to the left. And then I'm going to swivel my heels to the right. And then I'm going to come back to my toesies. I'm going to bring my knees down. But you could like come up into dolphin, power up into your down dog. Come on up. I'm going to step forward with my right foot. So for some of us, it can be helpful. That's not my right foot. Some of us, it can be helpful to bring the back knee down first to make that transition. Curl your back, toes under. All 10 toes pointing straight ahead. Scissor your inner thighs, tone your belly. And I'm using my blocks to get some elevation. You could use your own leg, or maybe you're very Dumby and the floor is very easy to grab. I want to keep taking my right hip backwards in space, keep lengthening my right side, and then bow. And then we're going to shift the weight forward. Boop. Both feet together. Forward fold. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, bow. Reach up, stretch up. Hello. And exhale, come to your center. Going to start back, moving with the left leg first. Same shenanigans. Inhale. Exhale, bow. Inhale, lift your chest. The left leg's gonna step back. This time, I'm spinning the foot down flat. Move my stuff so you can see. I hope you can see anyway. I'm using the edge of my mat so that I know that my feet are in a straight line. Pinky to edge of the right foot, right side of the mat. Heel on the left is on that same edge. And then bend your right knee a lot so that it stacks right over this ankle. And I want to move my leg away from me as I walk my torso out, down dog lunge. Deepen into your breath. Walk it around to the front of your space again. Boop. Blocks are great. Blankets are great. I'm going to bring that back knee down to start. And then walk your forearms down. Absolutely. Stay with the back knee down. Or lift it up. It is definitely a different situation. Feel free to ditch the project. Or step forearm plank. Heels to the right. Heels to the left. Collapse to the floor. You don't have to dramatically collapse to the floor. That's just something I like to do. Shift your weight back a little bit if you were about to nosedive into your crafting corner. And then we're going to set up for Sphinx pose. Strong forearms into the earth. Belly away from the ground. Drag your chest forward. Lift up. So for me, my neck and shoulders are very tight. See the aforementioned stress and rage. And so it starts to get kind of challenging for me to keep my shoulders away from my ears. So sometimes you might want to take your arms a little wider. I'm kind of doing this wiggly maneuver. Doesn't really have a yoga name that I know of. We could make one up if you wanted to. But I want to find enough space that my neck feels long and my chest feels lifted in Sphinx pose. Now I'm going to add a quad stretch. What happens a lot when we work on this pose is it will collapse forward. Because neck and shoulders can be really tight, they are on me, and I'm sure a lot of us are having that stress. We're going to take a moment, take your elbows wide, palms stack, forehead down. And just see what that feels like in your chest and body. So it's a very forward feeling. So I want to lift. I don't know if you just heard the glow stick crackle. It was epic. Hoping it comes through. So I really want to lift my chest. I'm going to bend my right leg and kick the ceiling with my right toesies. And maybe just doing this is enough. I want to try and keep my chest lifted. That's more important than doing any sort of special placement with the hand and foot. Stage one is to just kind of reach back and okay, it's back there. And then maybe we can turn the fingers back, elbow up, pull in, keep lifting the chest. There's a big fancy maneuver in yoga where you turn your fingers forward and your elbow up as you pull the foot in. And it's a big, big quad stretch and it's a big foot stretch. So it can be a little bit tricky. But if that's available to you, there it is. Keep the chest lifted. And like it's not an emergency, let go of the right toes. And that created a ton for me. Tension on the left side, just holding up. So we want to soften again. That's forward, right? So I want lifted. Ground into your right forearm, left fingertips, kick the ceiling, lift up. This is great. I'm feeling a ton of muscle activation. There's work in the hamstrings and glutes to pull the foot in. There's stretch across the front of the body, and there's a back bend. I don't have to do anything else. So you may stay there. Or I'm going to reach back, Oh, it's horrible. I got it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. You can be there, right? Or stage 1 is elbow up, fingers back, chest lifted. This shoulder is probably going to behave even worse than the first one. But there's a big pull-in you can do where the fingers come forward, the elbow goes up. And this is about as far as my back heel is going to come to my bum today. But some people can get their heel like all the way to touch their tushy. So everyone's different. And I can tell as I've been talking, I'm collapsing forward. Lift up. And then relax. I'm making my pillow with my hands again. Elbows out. Forehead down. So I want to find a little bit of looseness in the shoulder. So I'm going to come up for a Cobra. But we want to wiggle it a little bit. If you're like, oh, I hate that flowy BS, you don't have to do it. It's cool. But I like it, so I'm going to wiggle. And then here, one shoulder in, one shoulder out. Come up, one shoulder in, one shoulder out. Come up center. Come back, forehead to ground. Press back into child's pose if that's okay for your knees. I love child's pose. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go today with my ice knee. Yeah, no, not hanging out in it. So I want to go straight into down dog, but y'all can hang out in child's pose as long as you'd like. Making your way to down dog if you haven't already. I bet you thought I forgot. That's why I wrote it down. Take your left foot forward. Hang on the ball of your back foot. We may not have done the big shoulder shot. No, we did it with a knee. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did it. I'll review the video later. We'll find out. So I've got my pyramid pose variation. I tend to call this high pyramid because you're up high on the ball of the back foot. Take your boop-a-doop-a-doop. Right hip back in space. No, that's your left hip. Left hip back in space. Scissor your inner thighs, tone your belly, and bow. Look forward at your hands, rebend that front knee, walk it forward, and forward fold. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold. Reach for the sky, come all the way up. And exhale, slide your palms pressed together through center. We're gonna start in a squat pose. Adjust your fashion if you need to. For yoga squat, call it malasana sometimes, that like grounded pose, right? For me, having your knees be okay with this and your ankles and your hips, so your joints not screaming at you, is more important than, say, keeping your toes straight forward or keeping your heels down. Those things are great, but if your body feels happy in the pose, if it feels like it's good, it probably is, okay? So, you know, traditional, I guess, workout wisdom, Western workout stuff, we say toes forward in a squat. I would say quite a lot of us, particularly people who do a lot of yoga, it's going to be a little bit more accessible if the toes turn out. There is an experiment we can do later on another day, if you'd like, to figure out which way your thigh bones are oriented in your hip socket. I can give you a ton of information about whether or not things like squats with toes forward is even possible, let alone a good idea. So, I'm done with my speeching now. I'm shifting a little bit side to side in my squat because that feels good in my body. If it doesn't feel good in your body, don't do it. This helps me feel stable, so I am. I got my blocks here, just making the floor a little bit closer to me. I feel a little stiff today. So you could do blocks or the floor, but tone the belly, come into stillness, My toesies did turn out, so pretty much as soon as I can, I want to get them forward. Pull into the belly, push into the floor or your blocks, and bow. My legs are straight, but I'm not jamming my knees locked back. I've got strong hamstrings, strong quads, strong muscles all around the knees. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, bow. We're going to step back to down dog. If you're a flow person and you love that chaturanga up dog, you could add that in right now. I will do a video another day on options and alignment on that, but for now, just do what feels good. Down doggo. Inhale, reach your right leg high. Exhale, step it forward. Spin the back, heel down, rise up, sit low. Warrior one. Strengthen your legs, strengthen your body. I'm going to inhale, reach up. And exhale, straighten the front leg. Pull your elbows back. Make fists with your rage. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, pull it back. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, touch down. Step it back. Down dog. Again, if you like a flow sequence, please add one in. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, step it through. Ow. I got a little overexcited with my stepping. Forgot I was on blocks for a second, I guess. Okay. Come down into your legs. Reach up, strong warrior one pose. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, peel it back. Squeeze your elbows, open your chest. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, peel it back. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale. You don't have to be in time with me. I just did a thing where I was saying inhale and exhale, and I got off and I held my breath. Don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. Exhale. Last one, inhale. Touch down. Down doggo. Again, I'm just using my blocks as a little bit of a reach extender to lighten the load on my shoulders today. Like I was talking about, they're a little grouchy. If you know that jumping is not a good idea, please don't. If you have blocks, it can be a fun experiment to use your blocks for jumping because it'll make it a little bit easier. It'll catch a little bit more air. So I'm going to leap into my squat pose. If you're like, no, I'm not, that's a valid choice. And again, I'm just shimmying side to side. You don't have to. That's something that just feels really good. And my hips right these days, hips are pretty tight. And then I want that strong lift in the belly. So those of you that are working on things like handstands, that's kind of the idea. If you're like, handstands, what? No, it's fine, it's fine. But we want to feel the strength lift in the belly. I'm using my blocks to bring the floor closer to me. Again, as soon as I can, my toes are going to come forward. I'm not just coming into the fold. I am pushing into my blocks, pulling my belly in, and coming into my fold that way. And that time, I felt like I could have done it from the floor or a lower block. But, come on up. A good rule of thumb for yoga and life is just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Right? I can do a handstand today. I hurt my shoulder. It's not a good idea. So I'm not going to try it. You can come back to the top of your space and just kind of shake it out. Sometimes those warrior poses and deep squats can feel kind of sticky in the hips. So giving it a little something is never a bad idea. We'll come back to the top of the space and take a side bend. So reach one arm up, one arm down, and tilt. One arm up, one arm down, tilt. Opposite way. Come back to center, reach up. And exhale, fold down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, we'll breathe it back to down dog. Again, if you have a flow you like, you are welcome. Bring your feet a little bit closer together. Tone your belly and lift your right leg. You can do this with your left knee down and hands and knees. Keep your hips level and bend your right knee. Tone your belly and lift your knee up to lift your right hip on top of your left. Stretch. Come back to center and step your right foot forward. Spin your back heel down and come up. Ooh, hello. Warrior two. Sit low. Tone your belly. Just like we practiced in standing, at the top of the mat, reverse warrior, side bend. Straighten your front leg, come forward, triangle pose. You could grab your own shin, the floor if you're feeling very flexy, or a block. Work to stack your shoulders over your front shin as opposed to putting your hand down regardless. So that may mean that you don't go down as far. Stack wrist to wrist, shoulder to shoulder, and then reach out through the crown of your head on the opposite wall. Keep reaching out through the crown of your head on the opposite wall so much that you start to shift your weight forward into your right leg. I'm using a block. Right hand, right foot, half moon. You might fall down a lot. Make sure you're not locking out your knee. Big breath, nice and soft. Turn to face the floor. Runner's lunge. I'm going to step back, plank, and lower down. I just did a little break dance backwards, so I was more in the shot. Coming up, funky cobra. Fingertips wide, lift your chest, curl up. Exhale, back to the earth. Hands by your ribs. Press to child's pose if that pose is available to you today. Take a breath there. 4 or 5. Come up, down dog when you're ready. I'm going to do the exact same sequence on the left side, but I'm going to turn away from you for a sec, so I'll do my best to shout. Inhale left, squeeze your inner thighs, tone your belly, keep your hips level, bend your knee. From that strength, purposely open it up so it's not a flop. Come back to center, step it through. Spin your back heel down, come up, whoo, warrior two, strong legs. Just like we practiced at the top of the space, it's a side bend. Straighten your front leg, send it forward, Trikonasana triangle. Again, shoulders, wrists, straight line. Stack over your front shin. Energy out through the crown of your head. Stretch. That energy, keep going, keep shifting. Boop, my block is really far away. There it is. Half moon. Don't have to use a block. I find it very handy for my T-Rex arms. Squeeze your hips together. Nice and soft, like it's not an emergency. Drop it down, step it back, down dog, grab a vinyasa of choice, or don't. And then we'll come down, boop, on to the belly. So from your belly, you're going to roll to one side. And here's where it gets a little tricksy, or I guess deceptively more complicated than you think it is. We're going to work on my favorite pose, Vishnu's couch. The couch is made of snakes. So don't get too comfortable. I'm lining up the side of my body with the edge of my mat. My little zafu is on my head. It's okay. What happens a lot of the time is we're like, yeah, I'm totally in a straight line. I can hang out here all day. My core is mighty. You're a wonderful human being, but you want to be in a straight line. And if you really are in a straight line, it is most definitely easier said than done to balance here. In fact, I still think I'm not in a perfectly straight line because it's a little bit too easy and I'm talking. So I want elbow, shoulder, rib cage, hip, knee, ankle, foot, all in a straight line. I'm using my core stabilizers here. If this is really challenging, you're doing it right. Yay. You can stay right here where you are. Just whoo, core stabilizers, man. This is the way. Or we're going to start to add on. So first stage, I'm going to go in the front plane here. I'm grabbing my ankle. I'm going to bring it into tree. I can stay holding on, or I can let go. This is a good one for your photo shoot. I can stay there, or now I'm going to grab my toe. And this is where I fell forward. My knee went out to balance me. So I'm really going to work to counterbalance that. I feel like my hula hoops are about to come crashing in front of me. And then stay there, or work to straighten so I know I'm balancing on the side. Because if I fall backwards, I'm running into those hoops. And then y'all folks, you all, just kind of roll the other side. I'm going to go ahead and flip around so that we can still see one another. And perhaps, you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to scooch forward on my mat so I don't run into my hips. Okay. So again, straight line, and it is harder to get your body in a straight line than you think it is, okay? It just is. I'm really trying. I'm thinking elbow, shoulder, ribs, hips, knee, foot, and it may not be in a straight line, but it feels a little wobbly, so I feel like I'm doing okay. I'm just working to balance here. That may be enough, or we're gonna try that tree pose. Again, I felt myself come out just to get the foot, so I want to go back into that straight line. Core stabilizers, core stabilizers, core stabilizers. I could stay there, or reach for the toe. Don't have to straighten your leg. Lots of great work here, where I work. Leg up. Whee! Wobbles, and then wobble out of it. Whee! If you fell out of it, you were totally doing it right. Roll over onto your back. And then, I'm sure there's some graceful, super flowy way to transition from laying down to sitting up. You're welcome to it. I'm just gonna sit up. And then I'm gonna come and set up, back up a little bit. Got my little blankie dudes. Okay. I'm gonna start in a wide angle stance. So if you are super flexy bendy, this is not all the way like 180 splits. It's more like an isosceles triangle. I think that's the one with a 90-degree angle at the peak. Yeah. So not super far. Sit up tall. Twist towards one leg. Excuse me, I'm not fussed which one. But then bend towards the other leg. Big breath here. Come back up to sitting, and now bend towards. So we're not turning. I went side bend, and now I'm going forward fold over the other leg. Coming back up to sit, I am twisting to one side. So I twist, midline faces the leg. And now I'm side bending to the other leg. So how do you know if you came out of the side bend? When you come back up, you should be facing the leg. If you're not, you came out. You're still a wonderful human, unless you're Ted Cruz. Resign. Okay, And we're gonna fold towards that outstretched leg. Come back up to center, lift your chest, tone your belly, and fold. Come back up to center. Let's bring the soles of the feet together, knees butterfly open, lift up tall, and fold. Come back to center, and we'll come back to reclining. Roll on home. Separate your feet as wide as the sides of your mat, maybe wider if you're very tall. And then just windshield wiper your feet, or your knees, excuse me, back and forth. And then come to stillness, pick up your left leg, cross your left ankle on your right thigh. So we've got figure 4 stretch. So that's our first spot. Okay, here's where your brain is probably going to try to do something else. My left leg is up. It's my left leg. This is my left foot. I'm just going to take my legs, just like they are, straight to the right. Your brain, particularly if you're going to do a lot of yoga, your brain just told you to do something else. My sole of my foot is on the floor. For me, this is a great twist. I'm opening back up through the left side. Again, the sole of your left foot is on the floor. Opening back up through the left side is a great side stretch or shoulder stretch. I could stay there, and I usually have to kind of assist with this arm and then bring it back. I'll take my right hand to the top of my left thigh and pull that in for a deeper stretch. Come back to center. My feet are about hips distance, more even than like way over here. And then again, it's right leg up. Figure 4 hip stretch. Good things are happening. And then I'm going to take this whole kit and caboodle. I'm trying to keep it as much like this as I can. And just bloop, over there. And as you saw, I kind of went flying a little bit when I did it. So I've got to readjust. Right shoulder. It's going to open up back to the ground. I'm having a harder time keeping the sole of my foot on the ground on this side. That's not surprising to me. We all usually have, sides that are unequal. This is great. I don't have to do anything else. It's one of my favorite stretches. Or I can bring this knee forward, down, into a little bit of a different twist. And then come back to center. And then we're going to set up for a final relaxation pose. So you might just want to rest on the ground with your hands on your body in a way that's comforting. You can rest flat, kind of classic style. You can sit up and take a seated meditation. I recommend a reclining shape, unless it's just your mind is just so busy that laying down feels like your thoughts are heavy. But we very rarely rest in our culture, and I feel like a lot of us need a bit extra rest. So resting is good. You can utilize props you have around. Really, there are no rules. I'm sure lots of yoga people think there are really intense rules, but there is no reason that you can't take Shavasana on your couch and go, you know, go take a nap. It's okay. I want you to set up in a way that is comfortable and comforting. I'm sitting up with one leg out. So just find a comfy way of being. Rest on your side, rest on your belly. Set yourself up with blankies, with your stuffies, with your cats. Close your eyes. Give yourself this moment in time to drift and rest and relax. You're welcome to rest in this way for as long as you like. Take as much time for yourself as you can afford today. When you're ready to come back, find your way into a comfortable seat with as little effort as possible. Take your time. Thanks so much, y'all. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell. And remember, diet culture is a tool of the patriarchy. Have a great day.